What's up, guys? It's Kictor, and welcome to another reading of Grandmaster of Demonic Cultivation, Volume 2, Chapter 8, Part 3. Yes, that's where we are. Hello. Who in the chat had a good day? Who has a day that they want to talk about? And I want to hear all about it. Hey Cats, Cows, and Lunar Skies, and Horror Girl, Lil Purple Cloak, Vitcoin, Sumi, Lil Purple Cloak, hello, and Kaz and CSCL, Scarlet Knight, Leo Sykes, Brayley, Millie, Xavian, DK Williams, Esper Lady, hello! Oh my goodness, so many friends here today. This is awesome. Waffles says, I've had a pretty good day. I'm con crunching for my con tomorrow. CSCL says, not a good day. Dealing with a very sick kitty. Oh no! Oh my god, I'm so sorry. Dude, that is awful. I hope that your cat gets better ASAP. I'm sorry. I wish I could give the both of you big hugs and sending all the well wishes to you. Kate says, I'm drawing yaoi. Does that constitute a good day? It sure does. Definitely. Let's zoom in a bit. It's like this one box that back here. Don't look at the box. Look at the Omega chair instead. CSL says, I feel it. Thank you. All good. Xavian says, I'm trying to figure out what to do with my day. Drawing, writing, I don't know yet. Ooh, the world is your oyster when it comes to drawing or writing. What do you think you're going to draw or write? I was going to say yaoi, but I didn't want to. I was like, I don't know. Kate's the one drawing the yaoi. I don't know if you're going to work on yaoi. Esper Lady says, I had a great day going to work on a Hanfu skirt tonight. Oh my god, that's wonderful. Also, Revenged Love ended, and I have to catch up now. Ooh, I wonder how it ended. I'm very curious. Fox the Ember says, hello, just chilling and working on a K-pop Demon Hunters crossover comic with a Minecraft streamer's hardcore lore. Wow, that's cool. Oh my god, I love a good crossover. And a Wild Boy says, I just want to preface that I am okay and my house is fine, but my street got flooded. Oh shit, no! Nothing was damaged and we're amazing because it's never been flooded before. Oh my gosh. I can only imagine the stress of a scenario like that, though. Oh my gosh. I hope that you guys continue to be safe. Thanks for letting us know. Kate says, I could send you the yaoi. I'm trying to outline the sketch, so I don't know how the whip looks. Dude, send me the yaoi. I want to see it. Stitch and I went to the mall today because she finally got a Canadian phone number because she had been using her American phone number for a long time, but she's now a Canadian permanent resident and has a Canadian phone plan. And I feel like sometimes when I go to do something more official business, you know, I want to like dress up a little bit, and dressing up a little bit meant not wearing one of my yaoi shirts and wearing a collared shirt and taking out one of my dangly earrings to feel more business. And because I'm expecting to talk to some like scammy phone salesman that's gonna try and upsell me or whatever, so I'm like, I gotta be confident my little collared shirt, you know. Let me get there, and it's this poor teenager, and he was so nice, and he was also so nervous, but he killed it. We were in and out, new phone plan. It was wonderful. I didn't even need to intimidate him with my collared shirt. But I'm curious if anybody else ever does that, if you have something that you're kind of nervous about, if you like dress differently. Not that I don't think, you know, you can't be yourself, but in certain situations I feel like cosplaying more of an adult or more of a serious looking person gives me confidence at the mall, I guess. Horror Girl says, did you get a haircut? I didn't. I've just been kind of styling it differently. I actually went back and looked at a video I did on the Omegaverse show, and I was like, oh my god, my hair looked so good back then. What was I doing? What have I been doing? Kate says, the yaoi has been sent. View with caution. Okay, I've got one eye open. Oh my fucking god. Oh, that really was caution. Wait, what? Who is this? Damn. You know, I can't show... I don't think there's a single angle of this that I can show. Is this Yan Wuxi and Chen Chao? Oh my god. Damn. Oh, it's Peerless. Oh, okay, yeah. Sui Buchu kind of has that frail prettiness that Shen Chao has. You know what I mean? I really wish I could show you guys that, but I cannot. Wizard of Moss says, that's so funny. I think I have that Omegaverse video pulled up right now. Oh my goodness. Well, I hope you think my hair looks nice in it. What else did we do this morning? Oh yeah, also very adult thing. We got pizza at the mall, very adult, and then Stitch went and bought some rope at Home Depot, which is the home hardware store here, and she needed 13 feet of this rope, and we were just hoping no one asked us what it was for, and then we're looking at it and we're like, this looks kind of suspicious, and we did not have to tell anybody that it was for a lasso for our Cowboy Shalian cosplay, but the guy getting us the rope did say, who are you gonna hang? And made that joke, which was really funny because we're always nervous in the hardware store that the men are gonna be mean to us or something, but he was very, very nice. And then we came home, and I've been editing my Summer with Hikaru video. Next we have the Peerless video, and after that we have a video on Omniscient Reader's viewpoint, because Stitch just finished reading volume 1 of that. We also picked up My Husband and I Sleep in a Coffin, because it's a new author, it's a new series, we want to test it out. And then tonight, I'm very excited because we're going to go see Shin Godzilla in theaters. And I saw that movie when it first came out, and it was so good. I love Godzilla. I remember thinking the directing was really, really good. And now it's in theaters, and I've always wanted Stitch to see it, and now we can go see it. So me and my friends and Stitch, we're going to go appreciate our favorite Godzilla baby. Ray Starlight says, hello, I just wanted to say thank you. You've so far made my day the last few days. I haven't been feeling like myself, but listening to you has helped me. This is the first stream I've caught. Oh my gosh, no way! Well, I'm so glad that I could help you in any way possible. I'm sure you'll feel like yourself soon. And yeah, thanks for letting me know this is the first stream you've caught. Welcome. Cat's Cow says, I had a great day. I spent all day making Chun Ching's tassel ornament from scratch. I posted it on the community. Oh, that's sick. Oh my god. That is really cool. Hey, you need to have a tassel or else the other flautists will make fun of you. Lunar Skies says, I'm rereading ORV. I've been crying over it all day. Oh no, is it sad? Part of the video that Stitch and I are going to do is she's going to quiz me on it because I actually know absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. I think the one guy kind of has like a priest collar, and that is it. Horror Girl says, I have zero self-control and officially bought the pre-order of the art book with all the bonuses. That's awesome. That art book, I got the Chinese version. So all the art, you know, is still totally understandable. And it comes with so many goodies. It's definitely worth it. So that's awesome to splurge on. Kate says, it's what I wish Yan Wushi's special finger technique could have been. Oh my god. Wei Wuxian's Wig said, can you describe it? Suebuchu is on his back. Spread eagle. Wolfwalker says, question, to ascend, do these characters have to die first, or do they just get yoinked into the heaven realm? They pretty much just get yoinked. They don't die. If you ascend to godhood, it's like, finally, you've been so good, you're the best, you're ascending, and you just kind of get yoinked up. You don't have to die. Neko Neko Me says, I did laundry today, but it started thunderstorming while I was there. Luckily, there were a pair of kind ladies I helped earlier who were willing to drive me home so I wouldn't have to walk in it. That's so nice. Aw. We love kind ladies. Scarlet Knight says, I sent you a package. It says it's delivered. It's not this. Is it this? I gotta open this. I gotta figure out who sent this. But I should probably open it with Stitch. And I haven't been to my P.O. box yet this week, so I could go tomorrow for sure. And I can open it on the members only stream. Is today Thursday? Friday. Oh, Mary said, I'm officially out of the closet. I cried a bit and my head hurts, but my parents are accepting. Oh my god, dude, Mary, that's fucking awesome. Holy shit. That is incredible. Oh my god, congrats on being able to do that and having your family be accepting. That is absolutely wonderful. Oh my god, huge congrats to Mary. I wish I could give you a big hug. That is the worst feeling ever. I know that feeling and it is awful, and I'm so glad that it went well for you. That is awesome. Oh my god, I hope that you can have a peaceful rest of your night. That is awesome though. Oh my god, huge congrats. Oh. CSCL. Oh, thank you for your donation. Oh my goodness. The recap. Yes. Wei Wuxian teaches the juniors about observation and bravery. Yeah, that moment was so cute. Oh my god. That was super cute. Cute blind girl with no tongue knocking. Yes, she has the bamboo stick, and everyone's like, why does she have this bamboo stick? Also, she has no tongue. Also, the other fierce corpse has no tongue. It's very curious. A stranger is saved. Xiaoqing Chen? Songlan crashes in and says his murderer was Xiaoqing Chen, and his master is right behind you. Oh, nice. I like how you even worded that in the donation. Ah! Thank you for donating. Thank you so much, CSCL. Oh, and yeah, that's pretty much the chat. There was just Wei Wuxian and the juniors coming across Xiaoqing Chen and the man he killed, or so it seems. Who in the chat? Please put in the chat if this is your first time reading through Morazushi. Like, I want to know the level of what people know, if you're comfortable. I can also do a poll. I'll do a poll really quick. Start a poll. How much do you know? I know the story like the back of my hand. Oh. I know the story so confidently. Kinda. Don't know anything. Okay. Lucia says, can I ask you something? What is the plot of Thousand Autumns? I started watching the Donghua and I don't get it. I also think the Donghua is very confusing. It's also crazy to, like, how much can you get from one season when it's based on a 5-series book, right? I have not read Thousand Autumns, but Stitch has. And what I gathered is, like, they gotta collect all the scrolls, right? But Yan Wuxi is like a demonic cultivator who's always fucking with Shen Chao. And they kind of end up working together even though they have opposing worldviews? Betrayal? Kate says, the first book of Thousand Autumns is really hard to understand until you just ignore the politics. Oh my god. So much betrayal. I would marry bread. I'm so sorry to hear that. I hope that you're doing okay now. Kate says, I will read Thousand Autumns with you. Well, I'm kind of curious about reading it maybe after we do our TGCF read through. We shall see. I do think reading Case File would be really funny too. Oh man. It's just so explicit. Okay. Oh my god. Why does this not give me the numbers? Okay, 31% of people say kinda. Okay. Okay, very good. Very good. Very good. It's hard to not say any spoilers when we know the story, but remember there are people in the chat that might be consuming this for the first time. So we can be excited about what's happening in the moment and try not to spoil what happens in the future. Briar May says, reading Thousand Autumns, I just want to strangle Yan Wuxi. Kate says, you will love Yan Wuxi. He fits your evil hot guy agenda. Yes, he probably does, doesn't he? Wolfwalker asks if we would react to the Grandmaster of Demonic Cultivation, Donghua. The problem with that is that it's owned by Tencent, and Tencent is very harsh with their takedowns of content. So it is hard to do reaction content with Tencent media. The same with the Untamed. You can get copyright strikes very easily. That being said, if Murazushi ever got dubbed, oh my god, I would find a way around it. It's extra hard when reacting to a series that has subtitles because you have to have it up for a certain amount of time so that you can like read the subtitles. Whereas I feel like the dub, when you edit a dub video, it's easier because you can just hear it and then cut away if you have to, because usually it's like you can have something on the screen for like 5 to 8 seconds before it gets like a copyright claim. It's crazy, right? Ugh. What if you put a weird thing over the screen so we know what part we're at, but it's not clear? Yeah, that's the thing, is that doing videos that are clearer, like, do better and look more professional and stuff like that. For a while, I was obscuring the screen for some things, and then they still get claimed. So it's really, really tricky thing to do. I was actually talking to, like, my YouTube rep about it, and he said, like, anytime you react to something, you're putting your channel at risk. Like, you're putting your whole livelihood at risk. So if it's a risk you're willing to take, like, do it. But if it's not worth it for you and you can make other content, then make other content. And I was like, I know, right? You should read Little Mushroom. Oh, I would love to read Little Mushroom, actually. I loved Little Mushroom. It's only 2 books. That's a really, really good one. Maybe when it gets its new official release. CSL says, maybe not a reaction, but interesting to get your thoughts. Hey, that's true. I would love to do that. That's kind of what I'm doing with the Summer with Hikaru video. Actually, that reminds me. Wait, I'm right here. I have to go on my other computer for a moment. But I'm right here. I can still see the chat. I can see what you're doing. Don't mind me. Don't mind me. I'm still here. I'm still here. No crabs. Carbs, though, yes. If you can get away with a carb strike, that's very funny. Okay. I just had to upload. I'm uploading the Summer Hikaru video unlisted to see if I get an ad claim on it. Carbs are for when the camera's still on. Yes, crabs are for the kicked scream. That's funny. Peekaboo. Could we also read Golden Terrace? Ooh, yes, that's another good one too. I remember being quite confused during different parts of Golden Terrace, so that would be fun to do with the chat and, you know, keep everybody not confused. I always get nervous when I upload a video that has, like, my opinion in it. You know what I mean? Oh my god, so many people just stopped at this lemonade stand. if you guys don't know, there's kids outside pretty much my house that put up a lemonade stand. They've been putting it up every day. They're getting some good business right now. Damn. Hey, Emma! Emma says, hello, everyone. I can't stay since I'm visiting family / celebrating my great-grandma's 94th birthday, but I hope you all have a great time tonight. Oh my god! Happy birthday to your grandma! 94! Holy crap, that's amazing! That is wonderful. Oh my god. Ray Starlight says, have you heard about the Twisted Wonderland anime? Yes, I have. I am interested about that. I do know that those boys are hot. Lucia says, I started watching The Untamed like 2 months ago and I love it. I got to episode 40 today, but I cried on one episode when it was a finale fighting, literally drowning in tears, and my sister filmed it. Oh my gosh. Nice. Yeah, The Untamed is so good. It's so, so, so good. I can hear the kids laughing outside. They sound like they're laughing maliciously. Cat's Cow says, I wrote a fic about Guzu having a lemonade stand. That's hilarious. Oh my god, was he very profitable? Hi, Kimberly. Welcome to the live. Sienna! Oh my god, Sienna! No freaking way. Sienna has been a member for 2 whole years. Oh my god, thank you so much, Sienna. 2 years, baby, yahoo! I have absolutely loved being in this community, and I couldn't imagine my life without all of you people. Love you, Kickstitch / Flips. That's so nice. Oh my god, thank you. Thank you so much for supporting us for 2 years and hanging out with us and being so much fun in the chats for 2 whole years. I really, really appreciate that. And oh my gosh, I'm just so glad you've been having a good time. That's wonderful. Thank you so much. Kohaku says, I play the Twisted Wonderland game. I can confirm the men are hot. You would like them. I love that. I love that. Oh, Sienna, thank you for sending a gift membership too. Oh my god, thank you so much. That is so sweet of you. Thank you. And welcome, Jazz. Kate says, Sienna, my wall mate in Kictor's house. Yeah. Can hear you guys in the walls. Robin Astor says, I love how Netflix was going to take The Untamed down and the world was like, fuck no, and then they left it on there. Right? That was right when I was watching it too. Whoops. I was like, every episode I was like, oh my god, we gotta fucking finish this because they're gonna leave it. It's gonna leave. Here we go. We live in there like Jinling. That's why Lex is always barking at the walls. The Untamed, just stay forever, right? I feel like, oh, it's such a good staple to have on Netflix. Phantom saves the day, Wong Jin forever, yes! Okay. So, shall we jump in? As I always like to say, if you have any questions, don't be afraid to ask them. Someone very nice in the chat will answer you, or I will answer you. And also, if you type Kictor in the chat, it appears bright orange, and it's a lot easier for me to see when I'm reading. If you do have something that you really want to tell me or note or anything, I really love getting everybody's reactions to the moments. It makes me feel like we're all sitting in a circle doing a book club together. So feel free to be active in the chat or chill and lurk. I'm just happy to be here reading with you guys. Ray says, I've grabbed my books. I have 1 book of TDCF hardcover. Ooh, very nice. And Arha book 1 and even 3 of the Morozushi manhwa. Ooh, very nice. Very nice. I think once all of the Morozushi manhwa is out, I'm going to buy all of them. Actually, I'm pretty broke right now. I will wait because that's going to be fucking expensive. But eventually that will be on my bookshelf. Have fun watching your show, Sienna. See you. Cat's Cow says, in my guzzy fic, he accidentally gets all of Chirong's henchmen drunk on accident. Oh, okay. That's funny, though. CSL says, I miss Shall We Scum. Yeah, Shall We Scum was good. What should I say instead? Shall we scum? Think about it. Think about it. Oh no, Leo, I'm sorry you've been having a bad day. I'm here to distract you, Leo. I've got this. Are the uncles ready? Uncle up. Okay. They were, okay, so yeah, in the room with them right now, they've got Song Lan, who was Xiao Qingchen's best friend. He just said that Xiao Qingchen killed him, stabbed through the heart, and it was very painful for him to admit that, even as a corpse being interrogated with inquiry. And also, Xiao Qingchen is laying on the ground with them. And he's blind. Okay. Xavian! Oh my god, Xavian! Thank you so much for your donation. What? That's so nice of you. Thank you so much. Slides mums. Thank you so much. Oh my goodness. Kenzie! Hey, Kenzie! Hey, bestie. Hoping this stream will help, but I found out my boss is being let go, and my interim boss is now my boss. I'm trying not to cry, but I'm not feeling good at all. Oh, shit! Oh my god. That is crazy, Kenzie. I'm so sorry to hear that. I know anything changing at work can always be so stressful, but that's terrible. I'm sorry that you're not feeling good. You guys have been having a tough month, it sounds like. I hope I can offer some kind of distraction if possible. I'm just know that you guys are in my thoughts for sure. Oh, Egg Person. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much for joining my membership as a Supreme. I really, really appreciate that. Thank you so much. Appreciate having a Supreme Egg Person. Thank you guys for your donations. I really appreciate it. And for joining the membership. Thank you so much. Kenzie says, I'm a big mess and trying to figure out things with moving and getting my job in St. Louis figured out. Yeah, I can imagine. It's a really, really stressful time. But you've got your wife, you've got all your friends, you've got us here supporting you. Robin Astor, thank you for joining my membership. Oh my goodness, thank you so much. You guys are so sweet. I really appreciate all the support. Thank you. Stitch and I are able to do what we're able to do because of my YouTube membership. So thank you. Thank you for joining. I always say, like, even if you guys only join for 1 month, it means the world to me that you decided to join. So just thank you so, so much for that, Robin Astor. Okay. Night Owl says, did you see my Scum Villain stash I finished? I did. I think I saw the Shenqing Chos, and they looked so good. Oh my goodness. And then I think you got distracted with Has-Been or something like that, because I was keeping up on your stories. Okay. We ready to uncle up? That can't be the catchphrase. Keep thinking of different catchphrases, okay? That crisp sound went right to the ears of Songlan, who was on the ground. It was as if the sound had exploded in his skull. He suddenly seized the 4 yin musclemen who held him down and sent them flying. He leapt to his feet, brandishing his longsword and whisk once more, and sliced and diced the 4 yin musclemen, shredding them into multicolored paper scraps. His longsword was pointed at Wei Wuxian, while his whisk was aimed threateningly at the clan juniors. The table had suddenly turned, here in this small shop. Jinling put his hand on his sword. Wei Wuxian saw from the corner of his eye and quickly said, "Don't move. Don't add to the problem. When it comes to swordplay, everyone here, combined, would still not be a match for this Song Lan." Damn, sexy sword daddy? Sorry. I ship him and Xiao Qingchen so much. This body of his was weak in spiritual power, and his sword wasn't around. Besides, there was also Xiaoqing Chen next to them to contend with, his motives unclear and whether he was friend or foe wholly unknown. Xiaoqing Chen said, "The adults are talking. Why don't you kids go out?" He made a hand gesture at Song Lan, who obeyed silently, moving to herd the clan juniors out. Wei Wuxian said to the boys, "Go on. You guys can't help here anyway. The corpse toxin outside should have settled by now, so don't go running around and stirring it up again. Slow your breathing." When Jinling heard, "You guys can't help here anyway," he was both indignant and frustrated, refusing to give up without a fight. But at the same time, he knew he was powerless, so he petulantly stormed out first. You know, I'm very curious about what Jinling would look like when he's older and act like when he's older, you know? Like, if he really smartens up and becomes like a very admirable Zongshi, like, Moran, you know? I'd love to see that. Lan Sizhui was hesitant to leave, looking as if he had something to say. Wei Wuxian said, "Sizhui, you're the most sensible here. Take the lead and guide them. Can you do that?" Lan Sizhui nodded, and Wei Wuxian added, "Don't be scared." "I'm not scared," Lan Sizhui said. "Really?" "Really." With that, Lan Sizhui laughed, surprisingly. "Qianbei, you and Heng Guanzhen are so alike." Wei Wuxian was amazed. Alike? How? They were clearly two drastically different people. Lan Sizhui did not answer, but only smiled and exited, taking the rest of the boys with him. "I don't know either," Lan Sizhui quietly thought to himself, "but they feel very similar. It feels like there's no need to be scared of anything if either one of them is around." That's so sweet. I love that he feels that with Wei Wuxian. That's really, really sweet. Oh, because you guys are my dads. Bookie wookie wookie. I just made myself sad thinking about, imagine Jinling when he's older and him like being able to genuinely help out Zheng Cheng, and in a weird way Zheng Cheng finally gets this like assistant that he had always craved to have with Wei Wuxian, but it's still different because Jinling's his own person, and like eventually Zheng Cheng like having to retire and like watch Jinling like become maybe this sect leader that he like wishes he could have been, but Jinling was able to like, you know, overcome his ego maybe in ways that Zheng Cheng couldn't. Oh, that would be really good. Just Zheng Cheng being able to be a really proud grandpa. Grandpa. I mean, dad. Uncle, you know. Oh. Jinling would be the leader of the Jin clan, but also, like, with the ending of the book, I'm like, does anyone want to be associated with the Jin clan? They can start their own clan with blackjack and hookers. Xiaoqing Chen fished a little red pill out of nowhere. Not the red pill! Oh god. He's been on the internet too long. Fished a little red pill out of nowhere and swallowed it. Such a moving display. I can't help but feel like he's acting a little different than he first did. Once he ate the pill, the purplish red color of his face faded rapidly. Wei Wuxian asked, "Corpse toxin antidote?" "Yes," Xiaoqing Chen replied. "Much more effective than that terrifying kanji of yours, right? And it's sweet, too." "Really quite the performance, sir," Wei Wuxian complimented. "From the brave charge against the corpses that exhausted you so terribly to blocking the blow meant for Jinling and losing consciousness. Was that all an act for us?" Xiaoqing Chen waved a finger. "It wasn't an act for you, plural. It was for your eyes only. Very pleased to meet you, Yiling Patriarch. You are even more formidable than they say." Anyone else catching a vibe? Wei Wuxian didn't react to this, his face remaining neutral. Kate says Jingguan Chen kind of did start his own clan with blackjack and hookers, though. Oh my god. Also, hi Jen Havi. That's such a nice message. I'm glad that you can enjoy the readings. Xiaoqing Chen continued. "Let me guess. You still haven't told anyone who you really are, correct?" That's why I didn't even expose you. I told them to go out so we can talk privately behind closed doors. What do you think? Aren't I considerate? Sir. You're the one commanding all the walking corpses in Yi City? Wei Wuxian questioned. Of course, Xiao Chen replied. The moment you entered and blew that whistle, I sensed something strange about you, which was why I decided to come out personally to test you. As I suspected, a low-level spell like the Final Eyes summoning could have only such power if it was cast by the Founder. They were both cultivators of the demonic path, so neither could deceive the eyes of a peer. Wei Wuxian asked, So what exactly did you want from me, holding a bunch of kids hostage? Xiao Chen chuckled. I just wanted to ask Qianbei for a favor. A small favor. What a mess of hierarchy for his mother's younger martial brother to defer to Wei Wuxian as his senior. Wei Wuxian was just laughing at this to himself when he saw Xiao Chen take out a spirit trapping pouch and place it on the table. Please. Wei Wuxian set his hand on the spirit trapping pouch, feeling it like he was checking for a pulse. A moment later he asked, Whose soul is this? It's so shattered that not even glue could piece it back together. It's only got a single breath left in it. If this soul were easily glued back together, why would I ask you for help? Xiao Chen said. Wei Wuxian withdrew his hand. You want me to restore this? Excuse my bluntness, but the scant bit of soul in here is just not enough. Besides, this person must have been immensely tormented while they were alive, subject to excruciating pain. They likely killed themselves and don't want to return to this world. If a soul has no desire to remain, it's most likely unsalvageable. If I'm not wrong, this remaining fragment of soul was forcibly pieced together, and once it leaves the spirit trapping pouch, it could dissipate at any time. I'm sure you're well aware of this. I'm not, and I don't care. This is so gay. Enter the new yaoi realm, okay? This is so gay. Oh my god. I'm not, and I don't care, Xiao Chen said. You have to help whether you like it or not. Don't forget, Qianbei, those kids you brought here are all watching pitifully outside the door, waiting for you to lead them out of danger. His tone was quite peculiar. It sounded almost affectionate, a little sweet even, but it carried an unwarranted maliciousness. It was almost as if he could happily call someone brother and Qianbei one second, then turn hostile and kill them the next. Wei Wuxian chuckled too. You are also more formidable than they say, sir. Shui Yang, you're a perfectly fine thug, so why masquerade as a cultivator? Dun dun dun! Oh shit! There was a pause, then Xiao Chen raised his hands and removed the bandage over his eyes. A layer of bandages fell. They revealed a pair of shining eyes as bright as stars, a pair of perfectly intact eyes. It was a young and pleasing face. He could be called handsome, but when he smiled it revealed a pair of canine teeth, making him simply adorable instead. He's adorable? Because he got the little pointy fangs? That air of childlike innocence masked the mayhem and ruthlessness concealed behind his eyes. He crazy. He's cute, but he's a little bit crazy. Shui Yang tossed the bandage aside. Oops, you found out. Wei Wuxian listed his observations, pretending to be in such a frightful pain that no one with a conscience would be so impolite as to remove your bandage to inspect, purposely showing a bit of Shanghua, purposely letting slip you're a wandering Taoist. Not only do you know how to employ the trick of self-inflicted injury to gain the enemy's trust, but you know how to manipulate other people's sympathy too. What a fantastic show! Such cool and refined detachment, an excellent display of stern righteousness. If it weren't for the fact that there was too much you shouldn't have known and too much you shouldn't have been able to do, I really would have believed you were Xiao Chen. Moreover, during inquiry, Songlan's answers to the last two questions had been Xiao Chen and the one behind you. If the one behind you was also Xiao Chen, there was no reason for Songlan to change his wording. Unless Xiao Chen and the one behind you were never the same person in the first place. Songlan wanted to warn them that this man was very dangerous, but he was afraid they wouldn't know who Shui Yang was if he said that name, so he had no other choice. Shui Yang grinned happily. It's his fault for having such a good rep. Mine's terrible. Of course I gotta pretend to be him if I want to gain others' trust. What expert acting, Wei Wuxian said. You flatter me, Shui Yang replied. I have a famous friend, you see. He's the expert actor. I'm nowhere near his level. This here is an insane clue. Just saying. Alright, enough chatter. Wei Qianbei, you have to help me with this. You made the long black nails controlling Song Lan and Wen Ning, right? Wei Wuxian said. If you can restore half the Yen Tiger tally, why ask me for help in repairing a mere soul? It's not the same, Shui Yang said. You're the founder. If you didn't forge the first half of the Yen Tiger tally, there's no way I could have made the second half. Of course you're better than me, which means you must be able to do everything I can't. Wei Wuxian really couldn't understand why people he didn't know always possessed such baffling confidence in his abilities. He stroked his chin, not sure whether he should reciprocate the flattery among peers. You're too modest. It's not modesty, it's the truth, Shuiyang said. I never exaggerate. If I say I'm going to kill someone's entire family, I mean it. I won't even spare the dog. The Chung family, the Chung clan of Yueyang, for example, Wei Wuxian said. Before Shuiyang could respond, the doors suddenly burst open and a black shadow darted in. Wei Wuxian and Shuiyang both backed away from the square table at the same time, Shuiyang snatching up the spirit-trapping pouch as he went. Song Lan lightly vaulted off the table with a hand, flipped in the air, and landed atop the table, letting it absorb the force of his landing. He then immediately looked to the doorway, black veins crawling up his cheeks. Wen Ning, his body weighed down with chains, crashed heavily through the door. With him came a gust of white fog and black wind. Wei Wuxian had sent out a summon for Wen Ning with the verses he'd played on his flute earlier. Now he instructed him, "Go fight outside, don't smash him to bits, keep the living safe, and don't let other walking corpses near." Wen Ning raised his left hand, swinging a chain at Song Lan, who drew his whisk to parry. The two weapons clashed, tangling together. Wen Ning retreated, dragging the chain with him, and Song Lan didn't let go, so he was dragged out as well. The clan juniors had already hidden away in another nearby shop, watching unblinkingly with outstretched necks. A whisk facing iron chains, facing a long sword. Clink, clank, clink, clank, sparks were flying everywhere. The only thought in their minds was that the showdown between these two fierce corpses was truly incomparably ferocious. Every move was brutal, every punch battered flesh. Only fierce corpses could brawl like this. If these were two live humans, there would surely be severed limbs or bashed out brains by now. Guess who's gonna win? Shuiyang asked. Is there a need to guess? It'll be Wen Ning for sure, Wei Wuxian replied. It's too bad he refused to be obedient despite my hammering so many skull-piercing nails into him. It really is inconvenient when things prove to be too loyal. Wei Wuxian blandly noted, Wen Ning is no thing. Shuiyang burst out laughing. You know, what you said has a double meaning. When he reaches the word has, he suddenly drew his sword and lunged. Wei Wuxian dodged. Do you always ambush people like this halfway through talking? Shuiyang appeared surprised. Of course, I'm a thug. You know this. It's not like I want to kill you either. I just want to immobilize you and drag you back with me, and then you can take the time you need to help me restore the soul. I'm just going to simply attic wife you. I already said there's nothing I can do, Wei Wuxian said. Come on, don't be so quick to reject me, Shuiyang said. If you're stumped, the two of us can put our heads together. He attacked mid-sentence. Wei Wuxian dodged and evaded the attacks, stepping over ground covered with paper effigy shreds, and thought, this little thug, his form really isn't too bad. Seeing Shuiyang sword swinging with increasing speed, aiming for progressively more artful and sinister targets, he couldn't help but say, Are you taking advantage of the fact that this body of mine is weak in spiritual power? Yeah, Shuiyang admitted happily. Wei Wuxian had finally met someone even more shameless than him. He tittered right back. When they say you should offend a good man rather than offend a thug, they're talking about people like you. I'm not fighting you. Find someone else. Shuiyang said with a gleeful grin. Find who? That Hengwen Jun? I got over 300 walking corpses to outflank him. Before he finished, a streak of white descended from the sky, and that icy cold, clear blue light of Bishan came striking at him. Hell yeah! Like an enveloping blanket of frost, Lan Wangji shielded Wei Wuxian. Shuiyang flung out Shuanghua to help him block Bishan's strike. The two famous swords clashed, then each flew back to the hands of their owners. Better to arrive in the nick of time than to arrive early, huh? Wei Wuxian said. Lan Wangji's like, action moment. It's like he's time for a cool catchphrase, and he goes, As soon as Lan Wangji replied, he continued crossing swords with Shuiyang. While Shuiyang had been chasing Wei Wuxian all over the shop earlier, he was now being beaten back again by Lan Wangji. Seeing the situation turning against him, an idea came to Shuai-Yang, and his lips curled. He suddenly switched Shenghua to his left hand and thrust the right inside his chinken sleeve. Wei Wuxian tensed, thinking he might hurl some kind of powdered toxin at them or draw a secret weapon, but what he did shake out instead was a longsword. Shuai-Yang attacked them again, seamlessly dual-wielding both blades. Oh, fucking cool! The longsword he pulled from his sleeve had an eerie, gloomy glare. When it swung, it emitted strands of black qi, making a stark contrast against the cool, bright silver of Shuanghua. Shuai-Yang lunged with both swords, the left and right, flowing in perfect harmony, and his assault was immediately intensified. Jiang Zai? Lan Wangji thought aloud. Huh? Heng Wenjun knows this sword. What an honor, Shuai-Yang said, feigning shock. Jiang Zai, meaning to call forth disaster, was Shuai-Yang's own sword. True to both its name and its master, it was an ominous sword that called forth death and destruction. Wei Wuxian interrupted to comment, Well, isn't that name just a perfect match for you? Once again, they're obsessing over the names. Stand back, Lan Wangji said. You are not needed here. Wow. Wei Wuxian humbly took his advice and backed off. He backed all the way to the entrance and took a peek outside. I like how Lan Wangji's like, I'm gonna take this bitch. This bitch may have 2 swords, but you've got one, Heng Guanjun. Wen Ning was in the middle of stoically strangling Song Lan, lifting the man by his neck and slamming him into the wall, creating a giant man-shaped hole in the process. Song Lan, also expressionless, seized Wen Ning's wrist and flipped him over, crashing him onto the ground. Loud, incessant bangs and booms accompanied the battle between the 2 stone-faced, fierce corpses. Neither side could feel pain, nor were they afraid of injuries. Unless they were cut to pieces, they could keep fighting no matter how many limbs they broke. There doesn't seem to be a need for me here either, Wei Wuxian mumbled to himself. Suddenly, he noticed Lan Jingyi waving wildly at him from inside the pitch-black shop across the street. Ha! They must need me there, at least. He had just left when Bishen's glare grew by magnitudes. In a split second, Shuai-Yang's hand slipped and Shuanghua dropped from his grip. Lan Wangji took the chance and caught the sword. Seeing Shuanghua had fallen into the hands of another, Jiang Zai struck straight for the arm Lan Wangji had used to take it. The strike was unsuccessful, and a chilling fury flashed in Shuai-Yang's eyes. He bit out darkly, Give me the sword! You are unworthy of it, Lan Wangji stated. Shuai-Yang sneered. Wei Wuxian walked over to where the clan juniors were and was immediately surrounded by the group of boys. Lan Wangji saying you're fucking unworthy is a damn good burn. He asked aloud, Everyone okay? Yes! We all listened and held our breath. Good, Wei Wuxian said. If any of you don't listen, then I'll make more glutinous rice congee for the culprits to eat. The few who'd already experienced the taste nearly retched. Just then, footsteps sounded all around them. Silhouettes began to come into view at the end of the long street. Lan Wangji also heard the sound. With a wave of his sleeve, he flipped out his guqin, Wanji, and slammed it down flat on the table. He tossed Bishen into his left hand and continued to fight Shuai-Yang, the will of the sword undiminished. Even while keeping up the assault, he raised his right hand and swept his fingers over the strings. I'm sorry. We have to do this. We have to act this out. So you're telling me Shuai-Yang is over here. Kate says, here we go. Shuai-Yang is over here, dual wielding, coming at him with dual wielding swords like this. And I was like, what can be fucking cooler than that? You know what's cooler? Lan Wangji dual wielding with Bishen and a fucking guqin. How did he even do that? He's like I cannot believe he one-upped him with the dual wielding. That's fucking awesome. But you know what's even more badass? Wei Wuxian checking in on the kids. The most important part of the battle. Wei Wuxian is a good mother. I hope you enjoyed that. Okay. The strings strummed, resounding far down the ends of the street. What echoed back was the strange yet familiar noise of the walking corpses' heads exploding. Lan Wangji continued to parry Shuiyang with one hand while playing the guqin with the other. He swept a cool look around, unflustered and composed as he plucked at the strings, striking simultaneously with both left and right. In spite of himself, Jinling blurted out, "Awesome!" That's so fucking sick. He'd seen Zheng Cheng and Jing Guanyao cut down Yao beasts during night hunts and believed his two uncles were the strongest of all the distinguished cultivators in the world. He had always been more scared than reverent of Lan Wangji, afraid of his silencing spell and cold temper, but at this moment he couldn't help but feel great admiration for the man's bearing. In that moment, he knew Lan Wangji fucked. Lan Jingyi was pleased. Of course Han Guanzhun is awesome. He just doesn't like to flaunt it everywhere. He's super low profile, am I right? The "am I right" was directed at Wei Wuxian, who was perplexed. Why ask me? What's that got to do with me? Lan Jingyi grew upset. You don't think Han Guanzhun is awesome? Wei Wuxian stroked his chin. Yes. Awesome, of course. Super amazing. The most formidable. As he spoke, he couldn't help but laugh as well. This hair-raising night of peril was about to pass. Day was about to break. However, that wasn't good news. The morning's light meant the evil miasma would thicken, and when that happened, moving around would become quite difficult again. It wouldn't be so bad if it were only Wei Wuxian and Lan Wangji, but with this many live humans, escape would be difficult once they were surrounded by a large number of walking corpses, even if they sprouted wings. Just when Wei Wuxian's mind was spinning, trying to devise a plan, the crisp sound of a bamboo pole hitting the ground came again. Ka, ka, da, da. The blind, tongueless phantom girl had come again. Wei Wuxian made the decision right then and there. Go! Go where? Lan Jingyi asked. Follow the sound of the bamboo pole, Wei Wuxian said. Jinling was slightly shocked. You want us to follow a phantom? Who knows where she'll take us? That's right, follow her, Wei Wuxian repeated. That sound had been following you ever since you entered the city, correct? You were heading into the city center, but were being led back to the city gates when you ran into us. She was trying to drive you out. She was trying to save you. The strange, mysterious sound of the bamboo pole, sometimes distant, sometimes close, was her way of scaring the living who entered the city. But the intent to scare wasn't necessarily malicious. The paper yin muscleman head Wei Wuxian's foot had caught back then might have also been something she'd thrown there to warn and frighten them. Wei Wuxian added, and last night, she was clearly trying to tell us something urgent. She just couldn't express it. But the moment Shuiyang arrived, she vanished. She was most likely hiding from him. Either way, they're definitely not working together. Shuiyang? Why is there a Shuiyang too? Wasn't it Xiao Jingchen and Song Lan? I'll explain that later. Long story short, the one fighting with Han Guanzhun in there isn't Xiao Jingchen. It's Shuiyang, impersonating him. The bamboo pole was still beating the ground, making that da-da sound, as if waiting, as if urging. They followed her. If they followed her, they might walk into a trap. If they didn't, they would be surrounded by walking corpses spewing corpse toxin, which was hardly any safer. The group of boys resolved to dash after the ground-beating sound with Wei Wuxian. Sure enough, as soon as they started moving, the sound moved too. At times they could see a hazy, delicate little shadow in the thin fog ahead, and at times nothing was visible. Lan Jingyi ran for a while, then asked, Are we taking off just like that? Wei Wuxian turned his head back and yelled, Han Guanzhun, I'm leaving this in your hands. We're going on ahead. The strings answered with a bong, sounding very much like someone uttered a and Wei Wuxian laughed out loud. He replied, through the guqin. That's fucking awesome. That's it? Nothing else? Lan Jingyi asked. What more do you want me to say? Wei Wuxian said. Why didn't you say, I'm worried about you, I'm staying, and then he'd say, leave, and then you'd cry back, no, I'm not leaving, if we have to leave, we leave together. Isn't that the script? Wei Wuxian spluttered. Who taught you that? Who said that sort of exchange has to take place? Never mind me. Can you imagine your clan's Han Guanzhun saying anything of the sort? The Lan Juniors all mumbled. No. Right, it's a waste of time, Wei Wuxian said. Your clan's Hangguan-jun is such a dependable individual. I'm positive he can handle it just fine. I just gotta focus on doing what I gotta do and either wait for him to come find me or vice versa. Literally, the juniors shipping them already, like forcing them into the warriors bond. That's so cute. I also love that Wei Wuxian is so confident in Lan Wangji's ability. I love that. Kate, what was my argument? Oh, that Lan Wangji does talk? Yeah, he doesn't talk. He just... the fact he's talking through the fucking Guchin. Yeah. They had followed the sound of the bamboo pole. They had followed the sound of the bamboo pole for half an incense time, making many a turn, when the sound came to an abrupt stop ahead. Wei Wuxian extended an arm to stop the boys behind him and ventured a few steps forward. A lone house stood amidst the thickening evil miasma. Creak! The door of the house was already pushed open, silently waiting for this group of strangers to enter. Wei Wuxian had a hunch there must be something inside. Nothing perilous or life-threatening, but something that could answer some questions, solve some mysteries. Since we're already here, let's go in, he determined. He lifted his foot and crossed the threshold. As he adjusted to the darkness, he reminded the rest without looking back. Watch out for the threshold, careful not to trip. One of the boys indeed almost tripped over the very tall threshold and was confused. Why is the threshold so tall? It's not like this is a temple. It's not a temple, but it's also a place that requires a very tall threshold, Wei Wuxian explained. A few of the boys ignited 5 to 6 illumination talismans, and the flicking orange-yellow light brightened the house. There was a straw scattered across the floor. At the very front of the house was an altar. Underneath it lay several small stools of various sizes, and next to it on the right was a small, pitch-dark room. Beside that, there were 7 to 8 ebony-black wooden coffins placed around the room. This is that charitable mortuary, the place that temporarily housed the dead? Jinling wondered. Yep, Wei Wuxian confirmed. Bodies unclaimed by their family, bodies too unlucky to be kept in a home, and bodies waiting to be buried are usually stashed in charitable mortuaries. You could say it's a postal station for the dead. The small room on their right was likely the overnight room for the caretakers of the charitable mortuary. Lan Sizhui asked, Mo Qianbei, why are the thresholds of the charitable mortuaries built so high? To guard against corpses that have turned, Wei Wuxian replied. Lan Jingyi asked, looking blank, do taller thresholds stop corpses from turning? They don't, Wei Wuxian explained, but sometimes they can stop turned corpses from getting out. He turned and stood in front of the threshold. Let's say I died and my corpse had just been reanimated. The boys nodded, watching in baffled confusion. Wei Wuxian continued, the reanimation only just took place, so aren't all my limbs all stiff? Wouldn't there be many actions I can no longer perform? Jinling replied, well, duh, you wouldn't even be able to walk. You can't move your legs, so you can only hop. He trailed off, understanding dawning on him. That's right, Wei Wuxian confirmed. It's precisely because I can only hop. He pressed his legs together and attempted to hop outside, but because the threshold was too high, he was obstructed every single time, his feet knocking against the barrier. The clan juniors found the sight absolutely hilarious. At the thought of a turned corpse trying desperately to hop out but being thwarted by the threshold each time, they burst out laughing. Wei Wuxian continued, you see, don't laugh, this is folk wisdom. As tacky as it is, and as crude as it looks, it's effective against low-level turned corpses. Even if the turned corpse trips on the threshold and falls out, its stiff limbs won't allow it to crawl back up in a timely manner. By the time it can get to its feet, either the sky will be brightening and the roosters crowing, or it'll be discovered by the caretakers here. It's impressive, actually, for common folk without cultivation backgrounds to have thought of this method. Jinling had laughed too, but his laughter faded immediately. Why did she bring us to this charitable mortuary? Do walking corpses not surround this place? Where did she run off to? I really loved that moment. That was a super sweet moment of Wei Wuxian getting to teach the juniors and making them laugh, even though it's kind of scary, you know? Scarlet Knight, I do think that the fierce corpses are like so strong and like magical that if stuff does break, they can just like kind of go back together. Maybe they really don't, Wei Wuxian said. We've been standing here for how long now? Have any of you seen walking corpses shambling around? Just as he spoke, the apparition of the girl suddenly appeared on top of a coffin. Since everyone had carefully examined the girl's appearance earlier under Wei Wuxian's lead, including her bleeding eyes and tongueless mouth, no one felt nervous or scared to see her again. Just as Wei Wuxian had said, one's courage grew in tandem with the number of times one was spooked, and thus one could face these situations calmly. The girl did not possess a solid body, and her spirit form emitted a faint, haunting glow. She was dainty in frame, the shape of her face similarly petite. If she was cleaned up, she would be the charming, lovely girl next door. But seeing how she sat cross-legged, she had none of the required manners. The bamboo pole she used as her cane was leaning sloppily against the coffin, and she dropped her 2 skinny little legs down to impatiently swing them back and forth. Still sitting atop the coffin, she slapped lightly on the lid. Then she jumped down, circling around the coffin, making gestures at them. Her gestures were easy to understand this time. It was the motion of open. She wants us to help her open this coffin? Jinling asked. Lan Sizhui speculated. Could it be her body lying inside, and she's hoping we'll give her a proper burial? This was the most logical deduction. Many souls were not at peace because of their bodies hadn't received proper burials. Wei Wuxian shuffled to one side of the coffin, while several boys stood on the other, wanting to help him lift the lid. No need to help. Stand back, Wei Wuxian instructed. Gotta be careful that it's not a cadaver that gives you a face full of corpse toxin or something. He lifted the coffin lid by himself and threw it back, letting it fall to the ground. Threw it back. He started twerking. When he appeared in, he indeed saw a cadaver. However, it wasn't the dead body of the girl, but someone else. It was the body of a young man, placed in a very peaceful posture. Under the folded hands there lay a whisk, dressed in a snow-white Taoist robe. The contours of the bottom half of his face were fine and elegant. His complexion was pale, and his lips were light in color. The upper half of his face was wrapped in layers upon layers of bandages, the width of 4 fingers. Under the bandage, where the eyes should have been, however, there was no visible curve. It was sunken in. There were no eyes there at all, only 2 empty holes. When the girl heard him open the coffin lid, she shuffled over and reached her hand in to fumble about. When her hands felt the corpse's face, she stomped her feet, and 2 streams of blood tears flowed from her blind eyes. Everyone understood. Without the need of any words or gestures, this lonesome corpse, placed in this lonesome charitable mortuary, was the real Xiao Qingchen. Oh, so sad. Ugh. The tears of a phantom could not fall. The girl let her tears roll silently for a moment before suddenly gritting her teeth and rising to her feet. She ah-ah'd at them, looking pressed and furious, like she desperately wanted to tell her tale. Should I use inquiry again? Lan Sizhui asked. No, Wei Wuxian replied. We might not be able to guess the questions she wants us to ask. Besides, I think her answers would be very complicated, very hard to interpret. Although he didn't say, you probably wouldn't be able to handle it, Lan Sizhui nonetheless felt somewhat ashamed. He inwardly resolved, once I get back, I must practice inquiry more diligently. I must reach Hang Guanzhen's level and know everything by heart, be able to ask and answer at will, to interpret and understand immediately. Lan Jingyi asked, What do we do then? Use empathy, I guess, Wei Wuxian said. Every major clan had their own expert way of obtaining intelligence and gathering information from resentful spirits. Empathy was what Wei Wuxian was an expert at. Is he? His method wasn't as advanced as those other clans. Anyone could use it. He'd invite the resentful spirit to directly possess him, using his own body as a medium to plunge into the deceased soul's memories. He would hear what they heard, see what they saw, feel what they felt. If the soul of the deceased had particularly strong emotions, his own body would be affected by their sorrow, their rage, their elation, and so on. Hence the name empathy. There is a puppy opening the door. Hello, Linky. I thought it was a ghost. It was a sheep. Why are you wet? Why are you all wet? Oh, it's raining outside. Wet little Sheba. Here, one moment. Oh! Okay, she doesn't want up. Sound of the chair squeaking scared her. A wet visitor. I'm sure she loved that. Yada yada, Wei Wuxian, you can possess me and then I'll know all your memories, whatever. It was also the most dangerous. Possession by a resentful spirit was generally feared and avoided at all costs. Empathy was playing with fire. A single mishap would cause one to reap what they had sowed. If the resentful spirit changed its mind and took advantage of the situation, having your body be taken over was the best case scenario. Jinling protested. That's too dangerous. Not a single one of these evil spells would... Wei Wuxian cut him off. All right, we're out of time. Stand in position, all of you, quickly. We gotta go back to find Hang Guanzhen when we're done. Jinling, you are the monitor. The monitor was an essential actor in the empathy ritual. To keep from sinking too deeply into the emotions of the resentful spirit and being unable to extricate themselves, the empathizer needed to agree on a signal with the monitor, ideally a phrase or a voice the empathizer was very familiar with. The monitor would supervise the entirety of the session. As soon as they sensed the situation turning sour, they needed to act immediately to pull the empathizer out. See, Wei Wuxian was already... he was already confident in using safe words. Jinling pointed at himself. Me? You want me to supervise you doing such a thing? If Jin Gongsu won't, let me, Lan Sijue said. Jinling, didn't you bring that silver bell? Wei Wuxian asked. The silver bell was a signature accessory of the Zheng clan of Yunmeng. Jinling had been raised by two families. He got 2 Christmases, staying at the Golden Carp Tower of the Jin clan of Lanling half the time, and at the Lotus Pier of the Zheng clan of Yunmeng the other half. Thus, he should have things from both families on him. Sure enough, though he looked immensely doubtful, he took out the quaint little bell. The Zheng clan's insignia, the 9-petaled lotus, was engraved on its body. Wei Wuxian stared at the silver bell for a moment. Jinling sensed something strange about that look and asked, "What?" "Nothing," Wei Wuxian said and took the bell, passing it to Lan Sijue. That's so sad. You know, he'd be thinking thoughts. "Nothing," Wei Wuxian said and took the bell, passing it to Lan Sijue. The silver bell of the Zheng clan of Yunmeng can steady the mind and bolster clarity. Let's use this as the secret signal. Jinling snatched the bell back. "I'll do it." Lan Jingyi snorted, unwilling one second and willing the next, turning sunny or gloomy with caprice, a temper befitting a young mistress. Wei Wuxian turned to the girl. "Come, enter." That girl wiped her eyes and face, then hurtled herself into his body and forced her entire soul inside. Wei Wuxian slowly slid down along the coffin as he sank to the floor. The boys hustled together and dragged a bunch of straw over to cushion him while Jinling clutched the bell tightly, his thoughts indiscernible. When the girl came crashing in, Wei Wuxian suddenly thought of a problem. This little girl is blind. If I empathize with her, won't I be blind too, unable to see a thing? The investigation won't be as effective. Whatever, listening is pretty much the same. The world spun about him in waves until what was once a feather-light spirit seemed to land on solid ground. When the girl opened her eyes, Wei Wuxian's eyes opened with hers. Unexpectedly, his field of view wasn't pitch black. The sight before him was a field of flourishing greenery. Oh my god, are we getting the flashback here in this chapter? Oh my god. Okay, it's not the full flashback. Okay, damn, this is crazy. Are we all locked in? Uncle's up? You know, I think MXTX does a really good job of, like, going on these, like, they're important tangents that don't involve the main characters, and they're so good. Like, you really fucking give a shit about the story, even if it doesn't have the main characters in it. Whereas a lot of times when stuff doesn't involve the main characters, you're like, okay, get back to them. But this is really good. He could actually see. Presumably, the girl wasn't yet blind at this point in her memories. What Wei Wuxian saw in empathy was the memories with the most intense emotions, the stories she most wanted to tell. All he needed to do was watch quietly, simply feel what she felt. In this moment, they shared the same senses. The girl's eyes were his eyes, her mouth was his mouth. This girl sat by a small stream, using her reflection in the water to groom herself. Although her clothes were tattered, she still needed to keep up with the basics of tidiness. She tapped out a beat with the tips of her toes, humming a small tune as she did her hair, but no matter how she coiled it, she seemed to find it dissatisfactory. Wei Wuxian felt a thin wooden hairpin poking about here and there in her locks. Suddenly, she looked down at her own reflection in the water. Wei Wuxian's line of sight followed. Reflected in the stream was a young girl with a heart-shaped face curving to a pointed chin. There were no pupils in the young girl's eyes. They were a blank field of nothing but white. Wei Wuxian thought, she clearly looks blind, but I can see right now. Having done her hair, she dusted off her behind and leapt to her feet, picking up her bamboo pole as she went. She skipped as she traveled down the road and swung the bamboo pole as she walked, beating at the branches and leaves above her head, picking out the rocks at her feet, scaring the grasshoppers in the grass, not stopping for a single moment. Some distance ahead, people approached. The girl immediately stopped skipping and held the bamboo pole properly, hitting it against the ground as she walked at an exasperating pace, looking very careful and prudent. It was a group of village girls that had crossed her path. They all made way at the sight of her, whispering in each other's ears. The girl nodded hastily. Thank you, thank you. One of the villagers seemed to be sympathetic at the sight of her. She peeled back the white cloth covering her basket to retrieve a hot, steaming bun to pass over. Xiao Mei, do watch your feet. Are you hungry? Here, take this. The girl gasped and said gratefully, How could I possibly? That village girl stuffed the bun in her hand. Just take it. And so she took it. Ah-Ching, thanks, JJ. So this girl's name was Ah-Ching. Bidding the village girls farewell, Ah-Ching quickly gobbled down that steamed bun and began to bounce merrily again. Wei Wuxian, forced to skip along with her in her body, was getting quite dizzy. That girl certainly knows how to cut loose. I get it now. She's pretending to be blind. She was probably born with these white eyes. While she appears to be blind, she can in fact see. She's using that, putting on an act to deceive others and win sympathy. Alone. Strap in, uncles. That is quite good. A lone, wandering, seemingly blind child. Since others thought she couldn't see, it was only natural they'd drop their guard around her. When in fact, she could see everything and react accordingly. All in all, it was a clever way to protect herself. But Ah-Ching's spirit was truly blind, meaning she had lost her sight at some point while alive. So how did she go from being fake blind to genuinely blind? Could she have seen something she shouldn't have? When there was no one around, Ah-Ching would skip. When there was, she'd cower and act like a blind person. Stopping and going in turn, she haltedly came to a marketplace. The presence of a crowd meant she had to display her acting ability to the fullest, of course. She was in her element, performatively tapping and knocking with her bamboo pole as she sluggishly moved through the stream of people. Suddenly, she bumped headfirst into a middle-aged man dressed in vibrant, sumptuous clothes. Appearing petrified, she stammered incessantly, I'm sorry, I can't see, I'm sorry. What did she mean she couldn't see? She was clearly targeting this man. Having been bumped into, the man furiously whipped his head around, looking like he wanted to curse out loud, but when he saw it was a blind person, and a pretty young girl at that, he knew he'd be criticized by those milling around him if he slapped her in the middle of the street. So he only spat a nasty reply, Watch where you're going. Ah-Ching apologized non-stop, but the man remained riled up, even as he made to storm off. He reached out to give Ah-Ching's rear end a crass, hard pinch. It was as if he'd pinched Wei Wuxian's ass as well. Since he felt what she did, the pinch made his skin crawl with acres of goosebumps, and he dearly wanted nothing but to knock that man to the ground. Ah-Ching cowered into a ball, looking terrified, but when the man was gone, she tapped and prodded her way to a covert alleyway, where she immediately spat on the ground in contempt. Bah! She took a money pouch from her robes and poured out its contents. After she counted the money, she bahed again. Stinkin' bastard, dressed like he's all fancy, but barely a coin on him. Grab him by the neck and shake him, and you won't even get a clink for the trouble. Wei Wuxian didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Ah-Ching was only in her teens. She probably wasn't even 15, but she sure was smooth when it came to spitting out insults, and smoother when it came to picking pockets. He thought, if you picked my pocket, you definitely wouldn't curse like that. I was once rich, you know. He was still lost in wonder at his own impoverished state when Ah-Ching found her next target. She exited the alleyway, resuming her blind act. She walked for a stretch, then, employing the same trick, yelped as she bumped into a white-clad Taoist cultivator. She cried again, I'm sorry, I can't see, I'm sorry. Wei Wuxian shook his head. Not even gonna change your lines, sweetie? That cultivator swayed from the impact, then returned his head and That cultivator swayed from the impact, then turned his head and helped steady her before considering himself. I am fine. Can you also not see, miss? He's so good, guys. He is so good. This man was very young, his Taoist robe simple and clean. Strapped to his back was a long sword wrapped in white cloth. The bottom half of his face was clean-cut and shapely, albeit somewhat emaciated. The upper half of his face was wrapped with a bandage with the width of 4 fingers. From beneath the bandage, there bloomed the faint color of blood. Ching seemed to go blank for a moment before she could manage a reply. Yeah. Then walk slower. Do not move so fast. It'll be no good if you bump into anyone else, Xiao chided. He didn't say a word about he couldn't see either. Holding her hand, he led her to the side of the road. Walk on the side of the road. There are fewer people. His speech and actions were both gentle and careful. Ching's hand reached out, then hesitated. In the end, she still speedily swiped the money pouch that hung on his waist. Ching, thanks, Gaga. It's not Gaga, it's Daojang, Xiao Qingchen replied. Ching blinked. It's Daojang, but Gaga as well. Xiao Qingchen chuckled. Since you wish to call me Gaga, why don't you return Gaga's money pouch? He knew. Even if Ching's street hooligan fingers had been 10 times faster, she still couldn't deceive the senses of a cultivator. Immediately knowing she was in trouble, she bolted with a pole in her hand, but didn't even manage 2 steps before Xiao Qingchen seized her by the collar. Did I not say to run so fast? What if you bump into someone again? Ching struggled and fought. Her mouth moved, upper teeth biting down on her bottom lip. Wei Wuxian thought, oh no, she's gonna yell, harassment! Just then, a middle-aged man whirled around the street corner in a rush. When he saw Ching, his eyes lit up. Swearing and grumbling, he stalked over. I've caught you, you little tramp! Give me back my money! The cussing wasn't enough to exhaust his anger. He raised a hand to slap her, and Ching shut her eyes and hunched in fright. Unexpectedly, the strike was stopped before it could land on her cheek. Please keep calm, sir, Xiao Qingchen said. It's not improper to treat a little girl like this. Is it not improper to treat a little girl like this? Ching cracked her eyes open and sneaked a peek. Though the middle-aged man had obviously put a great deal of force into the blow, his hand was, seemingly effortlessly, held in place by Xiao Qingchen. He's so strong. He couldn't move an inch. The man was clearly nervous, but he remained stubborn. Your blind ass butting in out of nowhere. What, are you trying to act the hero? For what? Is this little tramp your lover? Do you know she's a thief? She stole my money pouch. Since you're shielding her, you're a thief too. Xiao Qingchen was restraining the man with one hand, while his other held Ching by the scruff. He turned his head to her. Return his money. Ching quickly dug out the bit of money in her robes and handed it over. Xiao Qingchen released the middle-aged man, who counted the coins, then peered at Xiao Qingchen. The amount was correct, and it was clear the cultivator was no one to mess with, so he could only leave shame-faced. You've got such nerve, Xiao Qingchen commented, to think you dare going around stealing when you can't see. Ching bounced furiously. He felt me up, pinched my butt. It hurt, you know. So what if I took a bit of his money? Such a big pouch with so little in there. How is he not embarrassed, being so mean, trying to hit people? Penniless bastard! You were the one who bumped into him and made a move with your sticky fingers. Now he's the one at fault? Such flawed logic, Wei Wuxian thought. Xiao Qingchen shook his head. If that were the case, it was even more reason for you not to provoke him. If no one else had been around today, this would not have ended with a single slap. Look out for yourself, miss. He then turned and walked off in a different direction. He didn't even ask for his own money pouch back, eh? Wei Wuxian thought. This shushu of mine sure was kind to the fairer sex. Ching clutched the small money pouch she had stolen and stood there dumbly for a while. Then she suddenly stuffed it in her robes and chased after Xiao Qingchen, still knocking around with her bamboo pole, until she ran headfirst into Xiao Qingchen's back, so he had to steady her again. Is there something else? Your money pouch is still with me, Ching exclaimed. You can have it, Xiao Qingchen assured her. There isn't much in there, but don't go stealing again before it's been spent. I heard that stinkin' penniless bastard cursing at you. So you're blind too? Ching asked. At the latter half of her sentence, Xiao Qingchen's face dimmed instantly, and his smile almost vanished. The innocent, oblivious words of a child were the deadliest of all. Children were ignorant, and it was precisely their ignorance that most keenly wounded the heart. Red bloomed and thickened beneath the bandage wrapped around Xiao Qingchen's eyes, nearly seeping through the cloth. He raised his hand and ghosted his fingers over it, arm shaking faintly as he covered it from view. The pain of plucking out his own eyes wasn't easily healed, and neither were the wounds left in its wake. Aching, thinking he was just dizzy, declared happily, "Why don't I tag along with you from now on?" Oh yes, there was a picture a while ago, wasn't there? There's the beautiful boy in bed. Quinn, thank you so much for your donation, Quinn. Quinn says, popping in to say I posted this week's painting on the community page. Awesome, I'm excited to see it. I wasn't really feeling artistic today. My mind wasn't in it. I could use some encouragement. Hey, everybody has those days, and I'm sure that you'll feel yourself and feel more artistic again soon. The fact that you still made something, even though you weren't feeling it, is really, really cool. So I'm sure you'll have that good energy back soon. Everybody has those days. Everybody makes mistakes. Everybody knows what I'm talking about. Everybody has those days. RJ, I know what you're talking about. The wise words of Miss Montana. Okay, listen up here. Xiaoqing Chen is such a good boy, and I just love a traumatized bitch, you know? He can't even hear the word "you're blind" without, like, thinking of the pain it took to pull out his own eyes, the fact that he had to give his eyes to his best friend, the fact that his best friend's family was killed and his eyes taken from him, and he did this. Like, oh my god. And then when someone just says "you're blind too," he starts crying tears of blood. Ugh. Xiaoqing Chen gave an arduous smile. Follow me for what? Are you going to become a Taoist priestess? You're a big blind and I'm a little blind. If we travel together, we can watch out for each other. I've got no dad, no mom, and nowhere to stay. What does it matter if I go who I go with or where I go? She was very clever. Afraid Xiaoqing Chen would reject her, and quite certain he was a good person, she added threateningly. If you don't take me along, if you reject me, I spend money real quick. I'll spend every penny in no time, and then I'll have to steal and cheat again, and I'll get the beating of a lifetime and completely lose my wits. How awful would that be, huh? Xiaoqing Chen chuckled. You are such a clever little thing. You would be the one tricking people into losing their wits. No one could beat the wits out of you. See, he's already being a good dad. Having watched this scene, Wei Wuxian realized something interesting. With the real Xiaoqing Chen present for comparison, he could tell that the imposter played by Shui Yang had truly been a remarkable imitation. Other than his appearance, every detail was vivid and accurate. If someone told him Shui Yang had been possessed by Xiaoqing Chen at the time, he'd believe it. Aching continued to pester and harass Xiaoqing Chen. It's like, how was he able to imitate him so well? Well, we'll find out. Aching continued to pester and harass Xiaoqing Chen, clinging to him the entire time as she pretended to be both blind and pitiful. Xiaoqing Chen told her many times that accompanying him was dangerous, but Aching refused to listen. Even when Xiaoqing Chen paused at a village during their travels to exercise an ox that was so old that had cultivated a mysterious spirit, it didn't scare her off. She insisted on calling him Daozhang and remained glued to him like a little piece of sticky candy, never more than 3 meters away at all times. As time went on, Xiaoqing Chen tacitly permitted her to stick around, perhaps because he saw that Aching was smart, likable, daring, and didn't get in his way, or perhaps because she was a little girl who was also blind like him, orphaned and alone. He was also a little girl, orphaned and alone. Oh fuck. Oh fuck, I hate this. I hate this so much. The Wizard of Moss, he was! Candy, you say? I was thinking that too, Kate. At first, Wei Wuxian thought Xiao Qingchen had a destination in mind, but several segments of memory skipped past, and based on the local customs and dialects of the places they visited, his movements were scattered and unsystematic. It didn't seem he was headed anywhere in particular, but more like he was going on night hunts at random. Whenever he heard of a place where evil had manifested, he'd go tackle the haunting. Maybe what happened with the Chung clan of Yueyang was too great a blow, Wei Wuxian thought. Maybe he wanted nothing to do with cultivation clans ever again, but couldn't bring himself to abandon his ideals, which was why he chose to wander from night hunt to night hunt, to help however he could, wherever problems arose. Presently, Xiao Qingchen and A Qing were walking down a long, even road. The grass was growing on the sides of the road, it was waist high. Suddenly, A Qing gasped. Xiao Qingchen immediately asked, "What's wrong?" "Oh, nothing, just twisted my foot," A Qing replied. But Wei Wuxian could see perfectly well that she hadn't gasped because she twisted her foot. She was walking perfectly fine. If she wasn't acting the part of a blind girl to keep Xiao Qingchen from shooing her away, she could have flown into the sky in a single bound. A Qing had exclaimed in shock because she'd glimpsed a black figure lying in the thick grass. "Leave him there! Just fucking leave him there!" Although it was unclear whether the person was alive or dead, A Qing probably considered them trouble either way. She obviously didn't want Xiao Qingchen to notice. Come on, let's go to that whatcha-call-it city up ahead and take a break. I'm exhausted," she urged. "Did you not sprain your ankle? Do you want me to carry you?" Xiao Qingchen asked. Sorry. A Qing was ecstatic at the prospect, excitedly tapping the ground with her bamboo pole. Yes! Xiao Qingchen laughed, turning to present his back to her with one knee bent to the ground. A Qing was just about to pounce aboard when he suddenly stopped her with a hand, keeping her down. He rose to his feet, his brows knitted. "It smells of blood." A Qing's nose had also detected the faint smell of blood, but it was weak under the sway of the night breeze, only surfacing sporadically. She played dumb. "Oh, really? How come I don't smell nothin'? Maybe some house nearby is butchering pigs or chickens." She had only just spoken when, as if the heavens were against her, the person in the grass coughed. Though the sound was extremely feeble, it didn't escape Xiao Qingchen's ears. He immediately pinpointed its direction and stepped into the overgrowth, crouching next to the person. Seeing how the person had been discovered, A Qing stomped her foot and pretended to fumble over. "What's wrong?" Xiao Qingchen was feeling the person's pulse. "There's a person lying here." "No wonder it stank of blood so bad," A Qing said. "Is he dead? Are we going to dig a hole and bury him?" A dead man was, of course, a little less troublesome than a live one, so A Qing was anxiously hoping this man was just that. But Xiao Qingchen replied with, "He's not dead yet, but he is gravely injured." After deliberating for a moment, he gently lifted the person from the ground and put him on his back. Seeing her rightful spot had been usurped by a stinking man drenched in blood, and that the promised piggyback ride into town had thus also fallen through, A Qing pouted and jabbed a number of deep holes in the ground with her bamboo pole. But she knew Xiao Qingchen wouldn't be dissuaded from saving the man, so she couldn't exactly complain. A Qing would have just buried him alive. The two returned to the road and continued on their way. The more they walked, the more Wei Wuxian thought it looked familiar. Then suddenly it came to him. Isn't this the same road Lan Zhan and I took to Yi City? Sure enough, at the end of the road towered Yi City. The city gates weren't quite as run down at this point in time. The corner watchtower was in perfect shape, and there was no graffiti on the walls. When they passed through the gates, the fog was thicker inside, but the difference was imperceptible compared to the suffocating miasma of the present. Candlelight shone from the doors and windows of the houses on either side, and there were murmurs of human voices. While still rather desolate, there were signs of life. Bearing a heavily wounded, blood-soaked person on his back, Xiao Qingchen must have been well aware no inns would accept guests like them. He didn't bother asking around for overnight lodging, but instead inquired directly with the approaching night watcher as to whether there were any unused charitable mortuaries around. "There's one over there," the night watcher told him. "The old caretaker passed away last month, so there's no one managing it right now." Usurper! Usurper! Seeing Xiao Qingchen was blind and would have trouble finding his way over, he voluntarily led him there. It was the very same charitable mortuary that now housed Xiao Qingchen's corpse after his death. After thanking the night watcher, Xiao Qingchen carried the injured man into the overnight chamber on the right. It was a mid-sized room with a cot, pots and pans, and other such cookware. It's like Jesus being born in the manger. He carefully laid him on the ground, then took a pill from his chinkin pouch and pushed it past the man's tightly clenched teeth. Aching felt around for a bit, then exclaimed happily, "There's so many things in here! There's a pot!" "Is there a stove?" Xiaoqingchen asked. "Yes." "Aching, why don't you find a way to boil some water? Be careful not to burn yourself." Aching pursed her lips and got to work. Xiaoqingchen felt the man's forehead, then took out another pill for him to swallow. Wei Wuxian really wanted a closer look at the person's face, but Aching, obviously uninterested and extremely irritated, refused to spare him a single glance. Once the water boiled, Xiaoqingchen slowly washed the blood from the man's face. Aching stole a curious sideways glance and let out a soundless "huh." The reason for her "huh" was that once the man's face was washed clean, he was actually fairly good-looking. At the sight of his face, Wei Wuxian's heart sank. Just as he suspected, it was fucking Shui Yang. That bitch! Ah! Enemies are bound to meet on a narrow road, he thought. Oh, Xiaoqingchen, you really have the most rotten luck. Shui Yang looked like nothing more than a boy at this point in time, 7 parts jauntily handsome and 3 parts childlike. Who could have imagined that a boy like this, with a smile broad enough to bare his canines when he grinned, could be an unhinged, clan-decimating maniac? Estimating the timeline, this was around the time Jing Guanyao took the role of cultivation chief. Judging by Shui Yang's sorry state, he'd barely escaped death after being taken care of by Jing Guanyao. As the saying went, the good die young and scourges last for 1,000 years. On the brink of death, Shui Yang had been saved by his good old foe, Xiaoqingchen. Poor Xiaoqingchen, to have accidentally saved the very enemy who brought him to this sorry state, never thinking to even carefully feel the man's face. Though Aching could see, she was not part of the cultivation world. She did not know Shui Yang, nor the grudge between the two men that ran as deep as the sea. Honestly, she didn't even know Xiaoqingchen's name. Wei Wuxian heaved another sigh. Xiaoqingchen's luck really couldn't be worse. It was like he'd decided to single-handedly shoulder the weight of all the ill fortune in the world. Just then, Shui Yang wrinkled his brows. Xiaoqingchen was checking him over and bandaging his wounds. Sensing the youth was about to wake, he said, "Do not move." Shui Yang, being someone who'd done plenty of bad things himself, was naturally more vigilant than most. The moment he heard that voice, his eyes snapped open, and he immediately sat up, rolling to the corner of the room. He was tense and on guard, staring at Xiaoqingchen with murder in his eyes. Those were the eyes of a cornered beast. They shone with obvious malice and ill intent, and that feeling passed into Wei Wuxian. Making his skin crawl, he shouted mentally, "Say something! Xiaoqingchen must remember the sound of Shui Yang's voice!" "You!" Shui Yang started. The moment he spoke, Wei Wuxian knew it was over. Xiaoqingchen wasn't going to recognize Shui Yang. Even if he started running his mouth, it seemed he'd hurt his throat, and coughing up blood had left his voice raspy enough that no one could possibly realize they were the same person. Xiaoqingchen sat by the bed. "I told you not to move," he said. "You will reopen your wounds otherwise. Do not worry. I am the one who saved you. I will not hurt you." Shui Yang, quick-witted, immediately figured out that Xiaoqingchen likely hadn't recognized him. Gears turned in his head. He coughed a few times and ventured a question. "Who are you?" Aching interjected a question of her own. "You have eyes, can't you see? A wanding cultivator, duh! He worked so hard to carry you back, saved your life, and fed you a miraculous medicine, and yet you're so mean!" Shui Yang turned his gaze on her immediately. His voice was chilly. "Another blindy!" "Oh no," Wei Wuxian groaned inwardly. This little thug was sharp, cunning, and abnormally alert. Even Aching's white eyes wouldn't make him drop his guard so easily. Nothing suspicious got past him. He'd blow her cover in an instant if she wasn't careful. Shui Yang had only spoken a few words. It would have been difficult to determine he was mean from those scant words alone, unless she'd seen his facial expressions. Fortunately, Aching had been lying all her life. She immediately responded, "What, you look down on blind folks? Ain't it blind folks that saved you? You'd be rotting on the roadside otherwise, and no one would care. Not even a word of thanks to Daozhang when you wake up. How rude! And calling me a blindy, too? So what if I'm blind?" She successfully changed the subject and shifted his focus, looking both indignant and aggrieved as she went off on a grumbling tangent. Xiaoqingchen hastily went to console her. Shui Yang, leaning against the wall in the corner, rolled his eyes. Xiaoqingchen then turned to him again. "Do not lean against the wall. I have yet to finish bandaging the wound on your leg. Come here." Shui-Yang considered the idea with a cool expression. Xiao Qingchen added, "If you put off treating it for much longer, your leg might give out for good." At those words, Shui-Yang made his choice. Wei Wuxian surmised his thought process went something like this. He was severely wounded and having difficulty moving, making it unwise to refuse treatment. Since Xiao Qingchen was fool enough to offer himself up, why not accept that fool's help with open arms? And so he abruptly changed face. With gratitude suffusing his voice, he said, "Sorry for the trouble, Dao Zhang." Having witnessed Xiao Qingchen's ability to change in an instant from smiling to heartless, Wei Wuxian couldn't help but break into a cold sweat on behalf of the two blind folk, one real, one fake. Especially for Qing, the faker. If Shui-Yang ever found out she could see everything, he'd certainly kill her to protect his secret. Although Wei Wuxian knew Qing had most likely been killed by Shui-Yang in the end, he still had to experience the journey, so he couldn't help but be on tenterhooks. Suddenly, he noticed Shui-Yang was subtly avoiding letting Xiao Qingchen touch his left hand. Upon closer examination, it turned out that that hand had a pinky missing. The stump was an old injury, not new. And Xiao Qingchen must have known Shui-Yang was 9-fingered. No wonder Shui-Yang had worn a black glove on his left hand when he was impersonating him. When it came to healing and helping other people, Xiao Qingchen gave it his all. His head was bowed as he applied medicinal powder to Shui-Yang's wounds, and when he finished, the wounds were bandaged beautifully. "All done, but you best not move around, lest that broken bone shift." Shui-Yang was now certain Xiao Qingchen hadn't recognized him. A dummy indeed. Even while covered in blood and horribly disheveled, that lazy, pleased smile reappeared on his face. "Dao Zhang won't ask who I am, or why I sustained such serious injuries?" Anyone would have carefully avoided the topic in order to conceal their true identity, but he just had to do the opposite by purposely bringing it up. Xiao Qingchen lowered his head, tidying the medicine box and bandages as he calmly replied, "Since you are not telling, why must I pry? I have done nothing but lend a helping hand to a stranger I met by chance. It was no difficult task for me. Once you are healed, we will go our separate ways. If I were in your place, there would be many things I would not wish others to inquire." "I wouldn't want people to know my sad life," Wei Wuxian thought. Even if Xiao Qingchen did ask, that little thing would have fabricated some elaborate, seamless story to throw him off the scent. Having a messy past wasn't something a person could help. Xiao Qingchen was being respectful by not probing further. He's such a good guy! Oh my god. Who would have thought Shui-Yang would just so happen to come along and abuse that respect? Of this, Wei Wuxian was certain. Shui-Yang wasn't going to trick Xiao Qingchen into treating his injuries. He wouldn't obediently go his separate way once healed either. Shui-Yang rested in the caretaker's overnight room while Xiao Qingchen returned to the main hall of the charitable mortuary. He opened an empty coffin, gathered a few armfuls of straw from the ground, and laid a thick blanket of said straw at the bottom of the coffin. He then turned to Qing. "The person in there is injured, so the bed is his. I'm sorry, but you will have to sleep here. With straw laid on top, it should not be cold." Qing had been a street urchin since she was young, having lived her whole life exposed to the elements. Where in the world hadn't she slept? Wholly unconcerned, she replied, "What's there to be sorry about? Having a place to sleep is already a pretty sweet deal. It's not cold, so stop trying to give me your outer robe." He's such a good guy. Xiao Qingchen patted her head, tucked away his whisk, and strapped on his sword, and then went out the door. For safety's sake, he forbade her to follow him when he went on night hunts. Qing burrowed into the coffin and laid there for a while before she suddenly heard Shui-Yang call to her from the next room over. "Blindy, come here." Qing poked her head out. "What do you want?" "I'll give you some candy," Shui-Yang tempted her. Qing's mouth watered. It seemed she really wanted the candy, and yet she refused. "No, I'm not coming over." Shui-Yang threatened sweetly. "Are you sure? Are you saying that because you're scared? Do you really believe I can't go over there and get you if you don't come here?" Qing shuddered at the odd tone of his voice. It was even more horrifying when she imagined that smiling, devilish face suddenly appearing over the side of the coffin. After a moment of hesitation, she picked up her bamboo pole and tapped the beat of the ground as she dragged her feet to the entrance of the overnight room. Before she could speak, something small suddenly came flying at her. Wei Wuxian wanted to dodge, worried it was a secret weapon, but of course he couldn't control this body. He immediately jolted, having realized, it's a trap! And that's the end of that part. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Ah! E-City is so good. It's so fucking sad. It's so fucking awful, but oh, it's so, so good. Master Ash, hey! Oh my god, thank you so much for being a Supreme member for 28 months. Oh my goodness, thank you so, so much, Master Ash. Master Ash says, yo, been a while since I caught a stream. Glad to be back. I've been replaying Persona with the bestie. Oh, nice. I've heard such incredible things about the Persona series, but I haven't played them myself yet. I hope you're having a good day. Thank you so much, Master Ash. I really am. I'm glad that you could catch the stream, even if it was just the tail end of it. Oh my god, Naj just sent 10 memberships. Holy shit, thank you so much. Oh my god, that is so kind of you, Naj. Thank you. Thank you so much. That is really, really generous of you, Naj. Oh my gosh. And tomorrow is the members only stream. So anybody who is a member is welcome to come to the 7 p.m. live stream where we'll play some Danmei related games. Oh my goodness, thank you so much. That is really, really kind of you, Naj. I really appreciate that. Thank you. And Kenzie, thank you for your donation. Take my money for getting me through my bus breaking down and waiting for my dad. Oh my god, your bus broke down? I'm sorry I missed that message. Oh my god, that is awful. Oh, and you're already having a bad day, and then your bus breaks down. Next, you know, Shui Yong's gonna be threatening you. Oh my god, I'm so sorry to hear that, Kenzie, but thank you for donating, and I'm glad I could entertain you, at the very least. I hope you can come tomorrow away with Shen's wig, but if not, it's all good. I'm glad we got to hang out today. Kenzie says, I'm chillin', hoping there's no Shui Yong for me to worry about yet. Yes. Master Ash says, I will try to be there. Yay! Oh, man, thank you again so much, Naj. I really, really appreciate that. Rose City says, I get that E-City is a sad arc, but when I first read it, it wasn't nearly as bad for me as it is for others. No problems reading it. You know, when I first experienced it in the Donghua, I was kind of like, oh, that wasn't that sad. And then in the Untamed, I was like, oh, this is pretty fucking sad. And then reading it, I think I thought it was pretty sad after I saw the Untamed. I think the acting in the Untamed is really, really good for Yi-City. But yeah, now that I know everything, it's so sad to me. Kate says, I love game night. It's the best night. Aw, that makes me so happy. It's my best night, too. Every day is Tuesday to Friday so far. Yeah, I can't believe we streamed every day, almost every day this week. I was gonna say, I could make the every day means every day, actually, this time joke. Master Ash says, I think the second time hits harder as you see the tragedy of it. Yeah, I think so too. Ugh, it's so sad. Alright, friends. I think I gotta head out to, dinner, because then I'm gonna go see Godzilla. But if you guys have any thoughts, even just like anything about the chapter that you want to talk about, feel free to post it in the community section as well. You don't only have to post pictures, you can also post any write-ups. Because I love to hear everybody's thoughts, and Yi-City is just so, so delicious. And if you have spoilers, just like write spoilers in your post at the top, and then we can discuss it. But yeah, oh my god, so, so good. Thank you guys for coming to hang out with me for another really fun read-through. I have so much fun getting to just chat with everybody and hear about your days as much as I do reading. And I hope you liked my little reenactment, too. That homewrecker Shuiyang! Right? Ah, just like how He Xuan should have married Shi Qingxuan for the ultimate revenge against Shi Wudu, Shuiyang should have just kept up the farce forever. Married Xiao Qingchen. Damn. He had to fucking get greedy. Yes, He Xuan should have married Shi Qingxuan. Thank you, Esper Lady. He could never show his pinky though. He could have its little prosthetic on. They could always hold the other hand. Ugh. My god, it's so good. It's so fucking gay, too. I've been holding back, but oh my fucking god, this arc is incredibly gay. Like, it's nuts. If it was a Meat Bun novel, they would be fucking. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm going. Okay. Goodbye, everybody. I will see the members tomorrow at 7 p.m. for game night. And I'm not sure when we will do another reading. I'm not sure what I'm doing Saturday yet. But we shall see. Okay. Bye-bye.